A very good day to you and welcome to Kenya's most comprehensive political analysis show here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evans Okinyi. Such a pleasure to have you on board here. Of course, as usual, I'm joined with Professor Herman Manyora. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Prof, we are saying here that this is Kenya's most candid and, of course, most comprehensive political analysis show. And we are telling Kenyans and, of course, giving them complete details of everything taking place within and without. And of course, our stance and our relationship with other countries has been under some sort of pressure. And right now we are facing, I don't know what is it, but then with the International Criminal Court, here we come, the president of the country has decided to sign into law, or rather he's signed what we call the Constitute of the AU Act. Something that we term, of course, the Malabo Protocol. I know you've heard of it. But then the president is seemingly granting himself immunity against any crimes that he may commit during his tenure against being prosecuted at the ICC. What do you make of the president's decision to sign this protocol?
Well, there's divided opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There are those who think it's not right, and there are those who think it's okay. Mm-hmm. There are those who support it, those who don't support it. But remember also, even at the level of the nation, at the country level, there have been very heated arguments about whether or not the president should enjoy immunity from prosecution within Kenya. And this formed part of the arguments during the BBI hearing, all the way from the High Court to the Supreme Court through the Court of Appeal. So that shows that the Kenyans have an issue with this immunity issue. I don't quite support them. If this is about ICC, as a person, I don't support ICC. I believe it's a court established to try people who they consider are not quite civilized. And I don't agree with the idea of ferrying Kenyans or an African to some European city for trial. We can do it ourselves. I know we have our own problems. But again, there are constitutional issues. I don't know whether the people asking the president to sign have considered constitutional provisions, because we take our compliance with international treaties very seriously, to the extent that impeachment could arise out of breach of the same for our president. So it means we place great premium on our compliance, and to the extent that also international treaties form part of our laws in this country. That reminds me that there must be something about the Rome Statute. They will need also to consider, is this treaty, whatever it's called, how does it sit with the Rome Statute? I'm not a lawyer, but I can see some form of conflict, one, between the Constitution of Kenya and this, and the two, between the Rome Statutes and this African thing. There's need to harmonize. And it shouldn't ever appear anybody wants to run away from justice. No.
Now, definitely, we hear, and of course, I've heard you mention the Malabo Protocol, which was conceived back then in 2014 with an aim of actually bringing some sort of African solutions to African problems. I wonder whether you support that kind of idea that we have our problems here and we can definitely solve them. And if at all, this is the right approach in solving our problems.
But the same place came up with much more serious resolutions. Why don't we implement those on agriculture first and other things? Why are we rushing this one?
Okay.
It was not just about this. It was about really serious issues like agriculture. How much should a country set aside for agriculture?
Okay.
How much should they set aside for this? That accord was not just about these trial things. But like I'm saying, it shouldn't appear anybody wants to run away from justice. No. It doesn't sit well with the people of Africa at this time. Africa is restless. Africa seems to be taking great exception to dictatorships, to foreign domination. Africa seems to be unhappy with its leaders who are too slow for them. Africa seems to be decided against impunity. So if this thing is going to be seen to be standing in the direction Africa is taking, I think it will go nowhere.
No, of course, by signing this protocol, of course, we are talking about the protocol of the Constitutive Act of the AU. This already gives, it gives in some sort of leeway, or rather the chance for the ratification of the entire protocol to take place in October. Therein, a number of Kenyans are asking, why is it the rush by Kenyan government to push for this? But then certain people are also saying that by signing this protocol, this president is actually showing some sort of an affront to constitution and perhaps justice for people for victims of certain crimes in the country. He's saying that it will not be so easy for people to get redress.
I don't know. You know, I said I'm not a lawyer. But I don't know whether such a thing can stop the ICC coming for you if they wanted to come for you.
But that is what he's saying.
If ICC, they can toy with the idea of going for Putin. How would they have a problem coming for some small African leader? I mean, if it a fully functional ICC, not allowing politics to interfere with its work, as in the case of people like in the Darfur case of former president and so on and so forth. If they wanted to come for you, this constitutive act will not stop them. I don't know. I would want lawyers to engage on this, but I doubt that it will stop them. Yeah.
But they're talking of.
That's why I'm saying there was need to marry this to make sure what Africans are doing is not in conflict with the Rome Statute. I don't know they have engaged at that level. Because Africans, for example, wanted to pull out of ICC. They can do so.
Okay.
But does it stop them being carried to The Hague for trial? It doesn't.
Oh.
Yeah, they can come for you. Yes.
They're saying that anybody who signs, any country that is signatory to that protocol, definitely
you don't even have to be.
Are immune to any kind of proceedings at the ICC.
Who, these Africans?
Yeah.
If that's what they are thinking, I'm saying they could be wrong.
And they're saying that before they take you to ICC, definitely there are certain conflict resolution mechanisms that must be first of all exhausted within.
No, come on. The ICC statute, the Rome Statute, already provide for that. They already provide for that. And that's why in Kenya in 2008, we are trying to set up a local tribunal, working within the provisions of the Rome Statute. That if we were able to demonstrate our ability to handle the post-election violence cases, ICC would not have come to Kenya. So what is it they are doing? Unless for other countries. But for us, I mean, it is there. I mean, it is provided for by the Rome Statutes already. So what is it they are trying to bring on board?
Okay.
One, it is provided for that you can have your own mechanism to try that. Rwanda has done it and so on and so forth. They can even support you. And the two, it may not stop them from coming for a Kenyan. No, it's not always that the country will hand over a suspect. They can come for the suspect. Okay. They can wait when you land in a certain country and take you.
Now look at what is actually taking place right now. We've got cases that are going on at the ICC. Of course, the Azimio La Umoja One Kenya coalition had written to the ICC. The government on the other side, I also hear, have also written to the ICC. Then we also have got people who've suffered. We've got people who've lost their lives during the recent anti-government trials that we had here. These were crimes against humanity, and people have not yet received that kind of justice. And that is why I was asking that question. Do you then think that perhaps by signing this protocol, then this could be some sort of an affront to justice, especially for these people who are victims of international crimes?
I'm not so sure. What I would rather we did is first of all, we stop these bad things. Engage in unnecessary crimes, brutality and so on. Crimes that can be defined to be of international and whatever human rights violations. We stop that because we are living in the 21st century. And at the end of the day, we are just brothers and sisters. So that's what I would rather we did. Secondly, because people will always transgress and break laws, we should strengthen our judicial systems.
Okay.
at a local level. If we are to start something at continental level, is to be in a possession of an infrastructure that can give support to ourselves as Africans. Okay? So we have something in Addis Ababa, the judicial division of the AU, that strengthens judicial institutions within member states in Africa. That to me would be a better way to go.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are countries which have not reached anywhere near where Africa is. Yeah.
Okay.
They should be able to reach there, where Kenya is. And Kenya should go beyond where it is.
Now, this
strengthening court systems and so on and so forth.
Okay. Now, surprisingly enough, this immunity does not actually end with the president. It even extends or rather escalates to other senior government officials. That term of senior government officials is somehow amorphous. We don't even understand who are these senior government officials who are being referred to here. But then going by what we are witnessing in the country, if at all whatever is taking place is going to take place and even the senior government officials cannot be prosecuted, then where does that leave us as a country?
No. That is a proclamation of impunity. We are trying to say we want to be a country of impunity, where courts are for small people. That is not acceptable.
And that is why I was asking, could we be solidifying actually impunity within the country?
That's impunity, and it's not acceptable. What we should be doing, and I want to repeat, is to stop acts that may lead us in the direction of the ICC. Okay? And where there are acts that require judicial intervention, we should endeavor to do them within our jurisdictions, so that Kenya should handle this. Now, that means Kenya will need to strengthen its court system, its judicial institutions. And third, they have said, AU can come in by creating a center of justice to help member states strengthen their judicial systems. You know, develop the physical courts better. Develop IT infrastructure in the courts. Train judicial officers. You get it? Do refresher courses, in-service courses, trainings, you know, benchmarking, and so on and so on, and support arrangements between the member states. That will be the role of the judicial division of AU. But not to create a law that says state officers cannot be prosecuted.
Senior state officers.
Yeah. That would be announcing impunity. That would, in any case, it won't work. You know, I want to tell people in this country and in Africa, the world has changed. The world is moving. You can't stop the world from moving. The things Moi did with Kinabed and Chunga, you can't do them now. No, the world is moving. The world is changing. Even if you get one guy and throw him in jail or shoot him dead, you can't stop anything. But the world is moving. And you see, crime does not go stale. That's what lawyers will tell you. There's no time limit for crime. If you commit a crime, you cannot say after 10 years now they can't get from me. I've seen some very old people being dragged to face international systems, trial systems. You don't want to go to some cold European city and spend your winter in jail when you are 80 years old. No, just avoid these bad things. Those of us who avoid doing bad things, not because we are cowards, we just think it's good to do the right thing. So don't promote impunity.
Do you think that the president's action right now would actually interfere with our international relations, especially with the International Criminal Court?
What I know, it will amount to nothing. It's an exercise in futility. What they need to do, if they are men, you may add their women if you want, women. If they are men, Africans, they should face their counterparts from across the world and redefine the Rome Statute. Yeah. Let ICC not be there tailored for us Africans and for smaller nations. Let them face the big nations in international forums and tell them, no, we dismantle this ICC But if you think, then we will not be part of this ICC. And then we walk out. And when we walk out, take one of us and see our reaction. Take one of us from their country. Yeah, let's see.
Certain quarters tend to feel that the president of the country is hiding behind the so-called oppression from the countries, just the ones that you've mentioned, talking of neocolonialism and, of course, talking of Western influence therein. And he's saying that the president is perhaps hiding behind that to introduce some of these, sign into some of these laws, which at the end of the day does not serve the common man. Do you buy that kind of idea?
You know, this is not a president thing. It's not a Kenya thing. It's an African thing. But the genesis of this thing in 2014 could have something to do with Kenyan ICC cases, where for the first time a sitting head of state and his deputy were at the ICC. Very high-profile Kenyans were indicted. And I think Africa was trying to talk with a voice against it. But they talk weakly because they are beggars. A beggar has no rights.
Okay.
A man cannot come to beg for food in your house and ask you where he can sit. Demand that he sits in a special seat. Well, just like you throw food down for a dog, Africans must accept the fact that to the extent that they have plundered their countries, you know, helped foreigners to plunder their countries. They themselves, they are stolen everything available in their countries. They are turned into beggars. And a beggar has no right, a beggar has no choice.
Okay.
Mbuzi ya kupewa uwezi kwanza kuangalia meno kama yuko na meno yote. How? You have been given the God, go, even if it's very old. Even if it will die after a week. Chinja ukule kabla ijakufa. Na ushukuru Mungu. Umepewa. You can't begin counting the teeth of a goat, a gift goat. The English say you don't look a gift horse in the mouth, my friend. Na Wakikuyu wanasema huwezi kuanza kuhesabu meno ya mbuzi ambayo umepewa bure. So because Africans are beggars, they cannot stamp their feet down and demand for rights in matters of ICC and other things. They can't. They cannot purport to dictate to IMF and World Bank and the world order. And then tomorrow go and beg. First of all, sort out your house. Stop stealing. Make African nations great. Make them economically and socio-politically viable. And then stand up against the West. Not when you are beggars.
Definitely. They should stand against the West, as you're saying, but
first,
the expense
put the house in order, stop stealing, stop looting your countries, put your countries on economic development, on prosperity path. Let them take off economically. Let there be social justice in their countries. Let there be the rule of law and good governance and democracy. Then you have the courage to stand and face the West and tell them, stop your hypocrisy. But for now, you are wasting your time.
Well, this happens, and of course comes at the, of course, the ICC chief prosecutor was in the country, Karim Khan, who's been accused of conflict of interest, and so far is
ICC does not work like that.
Himself,
unknown to many people, the ODPP, Office of the Office of the Prosecutor, it's the OP whatever, Office of the Prosecutor of the ICC, it's a small office. He doesn't control the court. No!
But so far he has recused himself from any Kenyan case.
Yeah, he doesn't, even if he didn't, he doesn't have the powers. People should acquaint themselves with how the ICC works. The prosecutor is a small arm in the whole arrangement. And he cannot mess with the cases. In any case, if somebody wanted to indict these fellows, the first thing they will say, the prosecutor by the name of Khan shouldn't be anywhere near Kenyan cases. And he can't influence. That's not Mlimani courts here where you can go and make a few telephone calls. No. That's a very serious court. Yeah. So if I only don't like it because it seems designed for us. Yeah. That's why I don't like it.
Okay, now definitely, Prof, here we are talking here, and as we conclude this conversation, if that, of course the president has signed it, if it becomes ratified by October therein, and these state officials, senior state officials, and perhaps the president and any other person will be immune to any kind of court proceedings therein, where does this now leave us as a country? Where do we stand? Because at least this time round, when people died, I saw the likes of Martha Karua saying that they'll go to the ICC and they'll present their petitions there.
But you see, first of all,
we have a solution.
I'm telling you, the Kenyan constitution says whatever we have signed at international level becomes part of Kenyan law.
Okay.
But there's already an existing part of Kenyan law. Because you are a member of the ICC and other statutes and other conventions that we have signed, and then they are also part of Kenya. You can see the conflict.
Okay.
So which one will prevail? We leave this to lawyers.
Okay.
They should not just speak English and put on suits. By now they should have told Kenyans, is it possible you can have the two of them in our constitution? Because the moment we have signed, we ratified, becomes part of Kenyan law. I think something of that nature. And yet, there are also those other at international level like ICC, which we must obey. So which one kicks out the other? But I'm waiting for lawyers to help us.
Definitely. We are waiting for the lawyers to help us crack that bit of a puzzle. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stop this conversation at this particular moment, but do not fail to subscribe to our channel here in case you're watching us for the first time. And of course, stay tuned to some of our programs that will be coming up next. Jedel Kabiro will always be here, Richard Mwenje, as well as Brian Mundia out there seeking your opinion on the Opinion Scope. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Evans Okinyi.